Hey everybody, Leah Benson here, and this video is an excerpt from a Q&A that Mark Miller and John Vervaeke did for the Generations of Joy course that Mark taught for John's Lectern platform. And in it, Mark explains what a prediction is. And not only that, but as he's doing so, if you listen closely, what you'll hear is the explanation of mind-body unity. So listen closely and enjoy.
I think technically, and I mean this rigorously, that predictive processing is actually anticipation. It's not prediction the way a scientific theory merely predicts. It is prediction and preparation for trying to afford fittedness. That's why I think, and I'm not making it's a more comfortable term. I'm making a rigorous argument that the term that is closer to what is being described is anticipation.
Maybe. I know why John is wanting another word, but here is Lisa Feldman Barrett explaining exactly what a prediction is from the perspective of predictive processing.
What your brain is doing when it's making a prediction, it's creating a category of instances from the past which are similar in some way to the present in order to predict what's going to happen next, what the brain has to do next, and what your experience will be next.
We are not talking about just the property of prediction that we find in our scientific theories. We're talking about a much more dynamic ability of organisms to anticipate their world.
Exactly. And now, Mark is going to bring this alive with this awesome explanation.
It's easy to overlook when we oversimplify the framework. You can get this idea that what's happening is there's like an apple in the world, and I'm guessing that there's an apple, and I'm seeing the guess, and then I'm updating the guess relative to the apple. And that can feel like, I guess that can feel a bit sterile. But that's not at all what's happening to see an apple. So the way it actually works is, that this is like, I'm not going to be able to say it without making myself like, it's so exciting and complex and wondrous. It's hard for me to say it, okay? Think about this. So what's actually happening is, whenever you encounter something in the world, your entire self-organizing architecture, it has to reorganize in a way that it's able to self-create. It's able to self-create a fit with that environment such that it understands, that's what it is to see an apple, is to understand the massive network of interrelationships that fruited apple perceiving, including apple getting and eating. All of that has to come to bear to see the apple. So Barrett and Barr have done some wonderful work looking at some of the cyclical dynamics here. And they say something like, to see an apple really works like this. There's an apple. You come into a room. The first thing that happens is the system makes a gist guess about what the likely array in the room is, based on all of the things it knows about rooms in the past. It picks up on apple-like things. Right away, it gets shot down to the body. The body starts preparing for apple-like experiences. So your digestion, you haven't seen the apple yet, okay? This is at the hundredths of milliseconds. Your digestion system, you want to talk about alive? You want to talk about life, predictive life, okay? Your digestive system turns on, your salivation glands move on. All of that now feeds back in as evidence for apple perceiving. That helps fill out the apple percept. Now the system starts grabbing memories of what it's like to have an apple in a classroom and what the likely behavior sets are to start priming for apple having in the environment. So you haven't seen it yet. It gets shot down through the motor system again, and the amount of grip I'm going to need in my hand and the number of steps I'm going to have to take to get to the apple are now primed in the system. That feeds back through as evidence for apple seeing. You haven't seen the apple yet. Okay, now what you're getting is you're filling out the percept of apple with everything you know about apple getting in the past, all of your anticipatory dynamic stuff that's going to lead you into the future of apple having, including this rich array of embodied phenomenon, that gets crunched into seeing an apple. So you don't just, oh, I see an apple, as if it's nothing, as if, oh, just make a camera, I could just see an apple, let's go. We'll just be able to solve relevance. Look, camera, apple, I can build that. That's bullshit. That's not how you work. For you to see the apple means you bring onto line a fully embodied re-representation of apple having, including all of the anticipatory dynamics to work into the future with that apple. That's happening at each minute of every day, every time you see anything. So you're not seeing your prediction of an apple. You are the shape of the niche, including the apple. You become a grip, an embodied past, present, and future directed deep temporal grip of apple having. Okay? Now let's move into something that matters. Okay, so I mean, apples are, of course they matter. But think about when you see another person. If that's what happens when you see a person. So everything you think about people, believe about people, holding your body as representations of being with people, that gets crunched into your experience of the person. Tell me psychoeducation isn't valuable here. That empathy training, compassion training aren't going to be relevant. Because the thing that you think about other people, that gets wedded in, that makes the experience of the person. Isn't that amazing? Oh my goodness. So you're just full of compassion for people. Then when you see people, that's wedded into them. They appear to you as things which are worthy of empathy and compassion. And if you're training yourself all day long, gossiping and being negative and being antagonistic, that gets baked right into the world. No wonder you say, well, look at the people in the world. Can you believe it? Look at these horrible people I'm surrounded with. That has everything to do with this living, embodied grip from which reality emerges.
Mark.
Now, that's not immediately obvious with the language of prediction, but that's closer to what we think is happening when we have this dynamic attunement.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in 7.5 Lessons About the Brain, Lisa Feldman Barrett talks about that the same way with emotion as well. That you
she's
she's
the author of the paper. I was just Barrett and Barr. That's Barrett. Lisa Feldman Barrett.
Yeah. Okay.
This is her work. Exactly. So exactly, emotions are the same thing. Happiness isn't a thing. It's a grip. It's an overall dynamic grip made of embodied, extraceptive, future, past things being brought to life in order to optimize our relationship with an environment.
So what I hear is replacing prediction with something like anticipatory attunement.
Also known as a plan for action relative to your personal habitat.
Fine. Totally. That's synonymous. That's one for one. Whenever you hear prediction, what you mean is anticipatory attunement between the organism and the niche. Because Carl Friston's very clear. You are a generative model.
Yeah.
And the model is a fit with the niche. It's not a set of predictions about the niche. It's an architectural design in which you can constantly attune and grip the niche in all of its dynamicism. That's what it is. We say prediction because it's a throwaway thing, but it doesn't mean, just like John said, not this easy, I predict there's something out there, but rather a very deeply embodied, ongoing attunement, and not just to the present moment, but the present moment produced and constructed and constituted by everything that's happened before and everything you expect to happen next is what we see. So you never just see storefronts. You never see a person as a storefront. You always see them in this fully, well, you ought continue to try to see them in this fully fleshed out way so they don't become tools, but are rather mysteries.